Okay, this video is going to walk you through the end game of PLA, and I decided to do a video that you could watch before we meet so that we can have a good discussion about what happens during the PLA end game. So the PLA end game begins the last day of class. The students turn in revised copies of their AOS drafts and their resume and their portfolios, and I will look through them and see if they pass the class. So students who don't pass the class, they don't get a P, or if they have a 0 on any assignments, are notified by letter that they are ineligible to submit a portfolio. And I take this letter and I CC the PCM, I image the letter in ImageNow, and I put a note in STRK that the student's PLA window is closed. Students who are eligible to turn in a portfolio are issued a credit recommendation report via email, and this email also contains links to Module 6 on documentation, a next steps module, and it gives them info on their endgame. Students first encounter this what happens next module during their week 6 and week 7 of PLA, just so that they kind of start thinking about the endgame and documentation. And it contains their timeline, it contains links to the documentation module, it contains videos on how to submit their portfolio. Module 6 is on documentation, and students first encounter this in week 4 of the class, so it's really good for them to go back and review it while they're doing the verification stage. It contains everything they need to know about verification and really focuses on what is needed for a letter to be accepted. So at this time, students are left on their own, but they can contact me on the phone or via email, and often they just ask me to resend them the links of everything that is contained in the CR report email. So 90 days after the class is over is when we would be expecting their portfolios to come in, but some people turn them in sooner and they get a faster return. It's very easy to find the PLA due date. It's on the ADP academic calendar, which you should have pretty handy. This information is also given to students in their next steps, in their next steps email, in their syllabus, but it's a good thing for you to have reference to as well if you want to check up on the students and see how their verification is going. One thing you can do to be helpful to students in this time is to encourage them to do the e-portfolio option. It's a lot faster for us to process these, and they save the students time and they save the students money, and it's a green practice, so it's good for the planet to be using these e-portfolios. So anytime you can give them a plug, it's a good idea. So if you're curious about someone's status, the first thing you should do is go check an STRK, because it might be spelled out for you. When a student misses their portfolio deadline, I'll typically touch base with them to find out what is going on, but unless there's a documented extenuating circumstances, I'll typically issue a termination letter to let the student know they've missed their deadline and the PLA window is closed, and then I will email this letter to them. I'll CC the PCM, I'll image this letter, and I'll put a note in STRK. So this is a way that everyone will know that this person's lost their chance. So to review, a termination letter goes out to a student who fails PL 1010, who didn't do enough work to submit a petition or to set up a portfolio, and for students who missed the portfolio deadline, they get a letter notifying them that they're out. This part, when a portfolio is evaluated, a student gets a letter with their award. This has a signed CR report attached. The letters are imaged. I also imaged the CR report. I input the credits, and I put a note in STRK, and I usually will go in and delete their planning semester. So this is the CR form, and I use this to input the credits for the students. At this time, I also would remove the planning term from academic advising, and then I would convert the credits once again once they pay their fee and meet residency. So a lot of this information is available in the Next Steps module, which you have access to at any time in the demo course. I can't stress enough how important this Next Steps module is, so if you have a student who's struggling, you might refer them to this so that they can know what point they're at. This brings us to the end of the PLA endgame presentation. I really wanted you to know what gets communicated to the students, what gets documented, what the end timeline looks like, so that we can support students better at this time. I'm open to any feedback for this because I really want to make this time a supported time in the students' PLA.